How do I remain consistent is one of the questions that I get asked all the time, guys. Like, how do I persevere through life's trials? How do I show up when it's still tough? How do I not quit on myself? Is basically what they're asking. And what a great question, man. I think that it's something that if you can sit down and reflect and be like, why do I quit on myself when times get tough? You're going to get your answers. And for me, what I've learned over years and years of training, and basically, I've been training for about 11 or 12 years now, guys. And, I've been dominating powerlifting competitions and being single digit body fat year round for years on end. I've had so many different adversities happen to me, like deaths in the family, like torn quads, broken backs, twisted ribs, twisted thoracic, AC joints out, separation from the mother of my child, different relationships, just different like financial struggles, like having businesses basically burned to the ground or losing work, or starting new businesses and trying to do things the old way. And then, like just all these different life experiences that I've had, man. I've remained consistent through my training throughout and always been able to progress, always been able to get back on the path if I dip for like a day or two. And basically in that 12 years or something like that I've been training, guys, I've probably taken about a month, maybe a couple of weeks off in all of that time. How? I just wanted it. I mean, it wasn't really more complicated than that. I realized that the gym was the means to the end of creating a better man. And if I showed up day in, day out, I would not only gain the strength physically to be able to go and achieve my goals with powerlifting, but it would also be the strength mentally to be able to endure any adversity of life that came my way. When I came into the gym for the first time, guys, I knew that my goal was strength. I just wanted to be the strongest person that I could be. I wanted to be like Goku and Vegeta, just like ready to take on any challenge. I wanted to have so many things thrown at me so that I could get back up stronger than them. It's like, in Dragon Ball when these guys get knocked on their ass and they sometimes they somehow they've got this insurmountable odds where just like the enemy's attacking them, it's pushing them down and they're on the brink of death, but somehow they find that extra level up. They find that second wind. They find that extra level of resilience and strength right from within that they must fight. And even if they're up against like this terrible enemy, they figure out like I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna fight to the end, and if this takes my life, so be it. So I had that mentality from like as a teenager, man. I was like, I'm never gonna give up on myself, never gonna give up on my goals, my dreams, not for any woman, not for any adversity, not for any whatever it is. I'm always gonna stay true to that. And the iron never leaves you, bro. People come and go, but like what always remains forever is your will, your integrity. It's you. You have that relationship with yourself. And as I've grown a bit older, I've realized that God's always with you as well, and you have to just develop that relationship with Him because He'll never leave you nor forsake you. But when I first started in the gym, I didn't have God, and where I say about staying disciplined when it gets tough, apart from just a deep desire of wanting to be the best person you can be, I mean, is that not enough? Like knowing that you're here, combining, like knowing that God has put you here for a purpose on purpose, and you have to do everything in your power to find out what that is, and then build the skill set and the tool set and the mindset to go after that. Those are the two whys that you have, guys. Is that like one, we have responsibility and duty as a man to be the best version of ourselves for our loved ones, and the best version of themselves doesn't have vices, doesn't have sin, doesn't have negative habits. They have godly values, godly habits. They have a relationship with God. That's the best version of yourself there. And then and then you take that skill set and you be like, all right, how can I take that like all those values and you combine it with the training grounds for it, which is the diet, which is the training, which is the gym, which is the Bible study, which is the prayer time every single day. It's like nailing those habits and nailing those steps that stack up to becoming the man that you need to be. So how you remain disciplined is you have that deep motivation, you have that deep internal why, you have that belief that what you're doing matters, and the way that you ensure that belief comes to life and the way that you believe in it is you're not doing the things that rob you of that belief. So you're not doing the things like porn, alcohol, drugs, going out going and having degenerate behavior, doing things that don't align to those godly values and godly habits and direction that you want to go. Even if it looks good at first, it's just a canvas that's painted on shit. It's not good, man. Even if it gives you temporal satisfaction, it can never satisfy the true desires of your soul. So don't waste your time one moment doing that. When I was young, I saw my friends going out partying, drinking, sleeping around, all that kind of stuff, doing drugs. And I was just like, I don't want a bar of that, man, because I know my goals are so much more valuable than the temporary satisfaction of that. There's no value in there. It's all surface level. It's all substance. It might look fun, might be fun. I might have been like, I kind of want to be in there. I kind of don't want to be in there. And then thinking like, damn, should I do this? But I knew in my heart, like, it'd be compromising my values. Even though I didn't have God at the time, it compromised my values of knowing like it would take me away from sport performance. It would take me away from the future wife that I knew I would have if I made sure I was the right husband, preparation for her. So I really just knew like having that desire to be the best I could be meant that I was going to have to sacrifice those temporary satisfactions and temporary pleasure seeking in order to create that man. So guys, you have to establish a deep internal why. You have to combine that with a set of daily tasks that are gonna reinforce you in the direction of your goals. You have to get clear on your goals. You have to get clear on your why. You have to get clear on what you stand for, what your values are. And if you don't know your values, have an honest reflection of your day. Look at your schedule and be like, what am I tolerating of myself? And how am I organizing my time? And that's going to tell you where your current values are. And if you don't like it, and if you look at those values and you project those habits and those values forwards a couple months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, where's that going to lead you? Are you happy with where that's going to lead you or not? Have a look at where other people have led from those habits and those examples, and look at people who have said like, I used to drink. Why don't I drink anymore? I used to watch porn. Why don't I do that anymore? I used to sleep around. Why don't I do that anymore? Have a look at that, guys, because if you have that regret, if you have those feelings that these aren't the right things for you, listen to that voice. It's God speaking to you saying that, no, you need to be guidelined by this regret. Don't do this anymore. Stop selling out that voice that's talking to you, trying to guide you. Very peaceful, very, very small whisper. You're drowning that out by going back to the instant gratifications and devices, which is robbing you of the belief to go in the direction of your goals. But if you amplify that voice by obeying it and sitting alone with God, turning off your phone, getting a journal, praying, reflecting, asking God those questions of life, and really leaning into Him with these things, then you're going to get that personal development that's going to ensure success no matter what path of life you go down. And when it gets tough, guys, like you can always count upon God to be there for you. You can surrender to Him in prayer. Personal examples of this, guys, like it was so hard for me when I broke up with the mother of my kid. That was the worst amount of pain I ever experienced, or one of the worst amount of pain I ever experienced, because I had so much fear of the future, so much uncertainty, so much trauma and pain, and trying to figure out what my life looked like and what my daughter's life was going to look like, and having, as you can imagine, all the fearing questions about what her future was going to be, and just trying to make sure I was going to still be in her life. And how did I stick in the gym throughout that? Well, the gym was what I had to catch myself, so I didn't go into any of these other vices and stuff like that. Now, I was beating myself up by being like, watching porn and occasionally drinking, that kind of stuff, guys. Like, even the best of us fall, man, but that's why we have to have a savior who can pick us up and break those chains of sin and guilt and condemnation. Wish I knew that so many years earlier. It would have saved me so much pain and heartbreak and trying to figure this out all on my own, but sticking to the gym in a consistent routine, knowing that I still have the goals of being the best dad I could be for my daughter, and if that relationship worked out with my ex or not, or if I had a new partner, I just believed that it was going to happen. So I never gave up on myself, and I kept pushing in the gym, even though I had periods where I was really down and depressed and a bit anxious and having fear and worry. I just stuck true to the iron, man. I believed in my path. I believed that I was going to be able to get through it, no matter how many repetitions or years that it took. And it did create a bit of a problem for itself, like counting upon the gym as the escape, because I started training like 3 hours a day and then playing basketball just over at this park here actually for like 6 or 7 hours, shooting the lights out basically at nighttime. But at the time I didn't know God. I didn't know that I was running away from my problems by masking with just training extra hard and trying to kill out that voice of negativity with what I call like the positive progress of pain, and which is training in the gym to failure. That's all I knew, was failing and getting back up and trying again and pushing through that. But I started using it as a crutch and a tool to try and get through this, instead of realizing it was a point of diminishing returns. You're not getting much value on that because you're training way too much. So it took some time to understand that I was running from my problems by running to more of the training, and I really had to then get in the mirror and be like, okay, getting through this tough time where I moved back in with my parents after that breakup and wasn't working. I was just trying to like breathe. I was trying to make it through the day. I was trying to just like, not have like an axe like pierce my chest with so much pain and worry and all that kind of stuff about my daughter, and not seeing her. It was just so hard, man. I was just trying to survive. And it was really what got me through that time was just like acknowledging the gift that I'd been given for my child, of my child, and knowing that I have a gift of responsibility and that I was wasting it by not addressing the deeper roots of why my relationship had failed. and then trying to be accountable to them in order to be the best man that I could be for my daughter and for my future partner. And when I took accountability for my situation, that it finally got to a point where things were like not going well, and I was like, I can't live like this anymore. I have to be the best man I can be. Well, that was the spark of the why that changed things for me. So like I said, guys, I went through this puberty. I was like extremely disciplined with my training. This is, a good 4 years in the gym, plus, a good 10 years of football behind that, but at least 4 years training, like intensely every single day. Have a beautiful daughter, have a relationship, and then that shit hits the fan. And then after that, so I've gone through like, being really disciplined, and then like have a break where I've got like, this depression and feeling like crap, and move back in home. Life goes up and down like this, guys. So what rides you through that is what's in here and your faith. Now I built the belief in myself to overcome that through pushing past fear, pushing past failure in the gym, and learning that resilience of getting back up and trying again, because I had experience of injuries before that, or I had experience of pushing past pain and knowing that on the other side is the growth and reward. So I knew that at an early age. It was just part of the process to become the person I wanted to be. And now on the other side of that, with a new relationship, with a new woman, and having like a great co-parenting relationship with my ex, and a fantastic relationship with my daughter, I see the faith the faith and belief seeds that I sowed like 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever years ago, that is what it was going to lead to. And so having that vision of the future combined with the daily steps and habits today, having that deep motivational why, which is not about yourself, it's not the selfish reasons that was going to, if it was just selfish, man, it was going to keep me in my own spot, my own self-pity, pain, depression, anxiety cycle with poor me. But it was only when I was like, no, it's got to be about my daughter, it's got to be about my future, it's got to be about that, I've got to start putting the love back into myself so I can love her and them at a higher capacity, that's really what broke that chain, man, was love. And so you have that why, you have that belief, you have that vision, you combine it with the daily steps and the habits, and you start walking that path, and no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times it takes, you're going to get back up and keep going. Other examples of overcoming adversity in my life, guys, 2023, man. So last year, around like September, something like that, I had a powerlifting competition, had a nationals comp, and I couldn't get a break, man. I literally got a break. I tore my quads last year, like, man, I tore my left quad like 3 or 4 times, my right quad like 2 or 3 times. I'm still squatting through this. I'm like, no, I said I'm going to do this, so I'm going to do this. Had a powerlifting competition, and just the most amount of things were trying to knock me off my path. But I said to my friend, I'm like, bro, I told you I was going to do this competition, so I'm going to do it. And I wanted so bad to follow through on my words to myself. In that prep period of time is when I met my new partner, had like gone through the pain in the gym and trying to recover these injuries and showing up and having that disappointment met when you go and tear your quad again, and you're like, man, how am I going to win this competition? Because I just come in to just participate, I come in to crush it, come in to win. And I have like ribs displaced, just so many different setbacks, and just keep showing up, keep grinding, and I'm getting up at 3 o'clock every single day. Maybe even earlier some days, man, just like I want it so bad because I believe that the best me lies in not giving up. And it was just a lesson I learned over and over and over again in my past, from not giving up on myself, from not giving up on the goals, even when everyone around you says, bro, you got to take it easy, you got to have that rest, you got to have that recovery, let it heal. And I'm like, no, I said I'm going to do this. I don't care if, at that point for me, it was like a win for me was just getting to the competition and participating and doing it to the best of my ability. That would have been a win for me, because I would have followed through my word to myself and built that nugget of confidence, that trophy, that internal trophy that I could look back on later in life and be like, man, I got through this, I can get through anything. I look back at all these failures and these heartbreaks and these adversities of my life, guys, and I'm like, I take the confidence that I rode through them with my chest up and my chin held high, my eyes on the horizon of being the best version of myself. It was just necessary down payment to go through those extreme adversities so I could become the man who I knew I ought to be for my daughter, for my future kids, for my future wife, for my loved ones, for my family, for my friends, for you. I knew that. And so I look back and I thank God for giving me those opportunities, those opportunities to have those trials, those tests, to build my character. And the biggest achievement that I have, guys, is knowing that no matter what adversity comes, I'm never going to turn away from Jesus. I'm never going to turn away from trying to use that adversity of pain to become better, to learn the lessons in it. because I love my loved ones so much that they deserve the best version of me. So I'm going to give it to them. No matter how many times I fail, I'm going to learn a lesson to get back up and try again. And so I go through this powerlifting competition, and I'm like, okay, I got through that heartbreak. I got through all the fears of single fatherhood. I got through having a business blow up when I was overseas. I have all this experience of overcoming this, and I take that and I've taken this trained ability of showing up day in, day out, hundreds of thousands of repetitions, winning other competitions in my past with herniated discs and a broken back just after I got out of that relationship. Just like all that pain turned into the purpose to create the perseverance of where I still wanted to go. Harnessing my will, making my mind control the body, not the other way around. It was like a David versus Goliath situation. It was like declaring the word of God over my life. It's like, no, like I'm going to go through this because it's going to create the unstoppable mentality. I want it to be harder, even though it sucks being injured. It's like, okay, well, let's find out if this is what breaks me. Let's find out if this is what stops me. And I knew I wasn't going to give up. So I was like, okay, there's probably going to be more tests then. And the tests kept coming, man. My grandfather was on his deathbed the entire year. He passed away about 2 weeks or a week before my competition or something like that. And a week before the competition, like my hand had swollen up to like a Hulk hand. It was like double the size of this. I had antibiotics, couldn't move my wrist. I'm like, how am I going to bench? How am I going to deadlift? How am I going to can't even wrap up my wrist for the squat? I think I was squatting with just one hand wrapped. And oh man, what else? I had the torn quads on the day of the competition. I had my ribs out, and I remember just writing these posts on my Instagram and talking to my friends because I wanted to share as I'm going through the adversity so I could help another guy get off the couch. If he had some little excuse, I had a bigger one. Or I could be like, like if we're going through the same battle, I'd be like, I can just show you, like, you got to keep going, keep persevering, keep pushing through those times that are tough in order to get to the other side. And so I remember I was like, all right, got a couple ribs out, all good, I've got more. It's like one leg's not working, that's fine, I got another one. And I didn't listen to the people telling me to sit on the sides. It's not the person who I wanted to become. The person who told me to rest and recover. It's like, bro, you don't know how many days you have left. And if I'm going to give up today's opportunity to be like everyone else, I don't want it, man. I don't know how many days I have left. And I need to use today and give 100% today in order to give it 100% to my family, to my loved ones, to my business, to my career, to relationship, whatever it might be. I didn't want to quit. And so I didn't. And then what happens, man? I go and win my division. 2 torn quads. I still squat like 280 or something like that, probably pull like 305 kilos. I think I benched like 160 or something like that. 89 kilos body weight, something like that. And so I won the division. I think I came second overall on the day in terms of the best lifter. But for me, just getting to the competition and applying myself to 100% of my ability with all these adversities come up. I think at the same time, I like going through like a really extreme financial situation. I was like going to come back home and only have a couple grand left to my name. It was like, how am I going to get through this? Because I decided at the time I was going to quit my last job, last business that I was working on, because I wanted to pursue coaching full time, really dive into it. And it was so many different things, new relationship, everything was just like, trying to figure things out. And it was a great time, man. I look back on it as like, what's going to push you forwards. And I know, like, when I come back now and I have the experiences now, like right now I've got a torn quad again. It's just not healing, bro. No matter how many weeks I've taken off squats, that's why I'm down to like 87 or 86 kilos, because it just hasn't healed. So like lost strength in my legs, lost some size in my legs, haven't been deadlifting or squatting for like the last 6 weeks. It sucks. Because I love pushing myself every single day. It sucks. But it's the same thing again. It's like, okay, just because you're looking at one problem, right? Are you going to magnify that? Or are you going to be grateful for everything else that you have? It's the same mentality that I have when I was like, all right, I'm going through this heartbreak and adversity. I've lost my ex, but I have my daughter. I have my family. I have my friends. I'm going to keep pushing. I have my life. I have air in my lungs. Or when last year I was like, I lost my grandfather. That sucked, man. I have so many experiences I wanted to have with him and I don't get to have now because I missed that opportunity while he was still here. And it's like, that sucks, but I still have my grandmother, I still have my brother, I still have my sisters, I still have like my friends. It's like you're going to magnify what you don't have or what you do have. You're going to be blaming the circumstances and excuses, or you're going to be resourceful with what you got. And so I look at that in a time of adversity that I have right now with, whether it be a financial struggle or whether it be like my quads being torn again and losing strength and just trying to grind and get a business off the ground with the coaching and everything else like that. It's like I look back at these other times of my life and they're all such beautiful representations of not quitting when times got tough and then getting all the growth on the back end of that. But knowing that it doesn't get easier, it gets harder before it gets easier. It's like, you know, that you have to walk through the mud of ground, like before you get to the higher ground. Like it takes to get to see the view from the top. You got to climb the hill, man. So you got to realize that pain and that sacrifice, that sweat, is a necessary down payment. So how do you not quit when times get tough? You dig deeper. You ask for more challenges. You ask for more adversity, and then you apply yourself to the same habits, the same steps, the same values. You partner with God, and then you persevere. Even if it takes 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you become unconditional to the time frame. You develop the skill of unconditional love for the people that are in your life. You develop that unconditional love for yourself. It's like, even if you like hate yourself for the sin that you've gone back into, like, you have that repentant heart. You can be like, all right, I'm still a child of God. I'm still loved. You stand true on what God has told you, on who God has told you who you are. And you're able to not like beat yourself up by going back into the sins or going back into the things that are really knocking you off your path. So you've eliminated the belief. You've eliminated the things that rob you of the belief. And even if you stumble sometimes, you get back up, repent, keep trying again, become accountable to yourself, accountable to your why, accountable to, you know, your values. And that's how you don't quit when times get tough. But if you've never pushed yourself past pain and past fear and past failure in the gym, you're really not getting the opportunity to train the ability of not quitting, because you haven't pushed yourself hard enough to develop that skill. If you're going in the gym and you're training half-assed, you're showing up, you're not tracking the food, you're not tracking the diet, you're not tracking your sleep, you know, you're leaving so much on the table as the opportunity of character growth. Taking shortcuts like steroids, you're leaving all these things on the table where you could have the development of patience and perseverance. This is why I'm so diligent with telling you guys to track everything that you do and to treat every session every day as if it was your last. Because when you do that and you value your life and you value the finite time that you have left, and you value the finite time that your loved ones have left, and you don't know when that's going to end, that's when you can start placing the value on today and your impact and your legacy. And when you do that, what that frames in your mind is that you only partake in the purposeful actions. You don't have time anymore for stuff that's taking you off that purposeful path. The things that rob you of belief, the vices, the sin. You don't go and work jobs that you don't need to work, because you're not living in fear, you're living in faith. You're living in where God needs you to go. You listen to Him, you ask Him those questions like, why am I here? What do you want me to do? How can I then apply myself to go in that direction? I know I'm going to have to build a character. I know I'm going to have to build a skill set. I know I'm going to have to build a mindset. Where can I build that? It's in the gym with the training and nutrition recovery. It's at home when you have your prayer closet, when you're in that intimate relationship, praying with God and reading the Bible and really seeking Him. It's those two things in combination, because it's mind, body, and soul. Cutting out all the physical, spiritual, and mental fat at the same time, guys. It's not one-sided. It's not just a single facet of losing the fat. No, it's so connected with those two things, man, that you can just like cut all the limiting beliefs, limiting excuses, and demand more out of yourself. And when you demand more out of yourself, you get more out of life, because you hold yourself to a higher standard and you do what you do the things that others want, but you get the life that others don't have. And you're separated from the pack. And that's how you dominate competitions. That's how you dominate businesses. That's how you get the relationship that you want, because you become the man worthy of having the result. And then when you get the result, you get to keep it as well, because you did it the right way. You built the character along the steps, along the daily habits. You built that character slowly, and were responsible for handling the weight before you can increase the next weight, because you perfected this form, perfected it at this weight before you can get to the next one. Therefore, you're not getting injured, or you're not wasting your time in the gym with not building the muscle. You know, you took your time to study the relationship books. You took your time to study the relationship videos, so that when you got presented the opportunity with that, you could then steward it, look after it responsibly. You took the time to read the business books from people that have operated with morality and integrity and values that align to God. Because when you do it the way that God has said it, it's going to work out for His glory. It's going to be like the right way. It's going to be done with the right character. And therefore, when you get the success, it's not going to like be cut underneath you because you robbed someone else, or because you operated with low integrity, or with low values, or you cheated someone. That stuff's going to come back around to you, man. So yeah, that's how you do it, guys. That's how you persevere. That's how you stay consistent through times of adversity. Is you don't run to the vices when times get tough. You dig deeper in the direction of your goals. And I know it sounds hard when things are already hard to make them harder, but I'm not saying to go and do things that are going to be hard in terms of things that will knock you off your path. I'm saying like, focus more, remain in that journaling, remain in God's presence, and keep reminding yourself day in, day out. Like, write down your why. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I supposed to do? Like, this is what I stand for. Go watch my other videos, guys, where I talk about how to create that why, how to create that mission statement, how to create your goals, because all of them together, like how to create that kill list on all the sin and excuses and vices and unbelief. Cut that out of your life, combine it with that blueprint, and you're going to become the person you always knew you ought to be. That life is waiting for you. That life is waiting for you on the other side of your fears, on the other side of your pain, on the other side of regret. It's right there for yours for taking, man, and it's your choice if you want to do that today. So, yeah, stay tuned, guys. So many more videos coming. Go watch my other stuff if you want to gain that personal development centered around Christ. Get ripped, jacked, shredded, full of belief, 24/7, 365. All the resources are there. Join my community too, guys. If you want to be in this with a group of like-minded individuals that champions battle themselves in perfection. If you want to be a part of that, have the training app, have the extra resources, behind the scenes stuff, jump in there as well, guys. We'd love to have you a part of the team. Anyways, have a nice day, and thank you so much for watching.